everyone. Thank you for the time and given to me. My name is Suri Gracia Tuhan Rasa. Today I would like to talk about a unique topic in British studies. The symbolism of the red telephone box and black cap in British culture. When we think of Britain, we often imagine certain iconic objects such as the red telephone box and the black cap. These objects are not just tools for transportation or communication, they are cultural symbols that represent British identity, history, and tradition. I will explain in British symbolize something like simple that carries deeper meaning about a society. The red telephone box and the black cap is represent ideas such as tradition, stability, British identity, and continuity between the past and the present. Even today, when technology has replaced many old systems, these symbols are still preserved because they express what people believe is typically British. The red telephone box was designed in the early 20th century and became one of the strongest symbols of Britain. Although many people no longer use public telephones, boxes still exist in tourist areas, city centers, and historic locations. But today, many telephone boxes have been transformed into mini libraries, coffee stalls, defibrillator stations, and art spaces. This shows how British society preserves tradition while adapting it to modern life. The telephone box no longer functions mainly as technology but as a symbol of cultural heritage. And for this discussion, I will show you a video to talk about telephone boxes and the cap. Okay.
When most tourists think of London, they think of the iconic red telephone box. But how did this icon come to be? Here's a brief history. In the early 1920s, the General Post Office introduced the first telephone booth known as the K1 or Kiosk Number 1 model. They looked very different than the boxes we see today, as they had a pointed spiral on the top. A few years later, the post office had a contest for architects to submit plans for a new phone booth. The winner was Sir Giles Gilbert Scott, who designed what became known as the K2 model. These boxes had a domed roof, and though it was not originally his intention, they were painted red to help with visibility. Updated booths were rolled out over the years, but in 1936, the next major model, the K6, appeared. It was made to celebrate King George V's Silver Jubilee. Though more models were introduced later on, the K2 and K6 versions are the phone booths that you think of today. While they look very similar, they have a few key differences. The K2 model is taller and has little square windows and a crown punched in the metal. The K6, on the other hand, has wider windows with little ones on the side and has a golden crown on the top. Today, like phone booths across the US, the famous boxes are mainly viewed as a relic of the past. But some telephone boxes have been transformed for a new generation, from cafes to electronic shops to libraries. And of course, ones that haven't been used still allow for the perfect photo op.
The black cap is another strong British icon. It represents reliability, professionalism, urban British life, London identity. From that, while their signature coloring makes them stand out and look the same, several different models have been created over the years. This tells us something important culturally. Although black caps appear traditional and unchanged, they have actually evolved with time. Different models have been developed to adapt to new technology, environmental standards, passenger comfort. So, like the red telephone box, the black cap represents a balance between tradition and modernization in British culture. From British culture perspective, these objects can be analyzed as cultural texts. They communicate ideas about national identity, nostalgia, heritage, global image of Britain, and tourists recognize these symbols immediately, which means Britain identity is partly constructed through visual culture. The country actively preserves this icon because they support a strong global image of Britishness. So everyone, from all of this material, I can get some summary or inclusion that the telephone box and the black cap are not just objects, but they are powerful cultural symbols that represent British identity, history, and continuity. Even though technology and society have changed, these icons remain important because they connect modern Britain with its past. They show how culture is preserved, adapted, and represented visually. Okay, everyone, I think that's all from my explanation about telephone box in Britain. Thank you for your attention and see you in next video. Bye bye.